Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to Cage Chat, where we're going to be looking at UFC Ottawa's main event and some of the key moments that happened on this weekend's card. So yes, we had Iaquinta versus Cowboy Cerrone, but we're starting it off with one of the fights of the night, and it was Shane Burgos versus Cub Swanson. Now Shane Burgos got this win via split decision, with one judge giving it to Cub Swanson on a 29-28 basis, I think, or 30-27. Now this for me was a little surprising. It surprised the crowd, and I think it was a very good fight. It was a very fashion stand-up fight, boxing, few kicks here and there. And I thought personally Shane Burgos was already in the rankings. Whether he was before and he dropped out the rankings, I'm not too sure. But I thought he was already in there. And post-fight, I said he should probably look at fighting maybe Brian Ortega, because I thought he was that high, that good, and of that quality. Obviously, he wasn't when I looked back at the rankings post that comment, and he's just been put in as number 13. Now, this is on the Tuesday that this is being recorded. So he's currently at number 13. Cub Swanson was at number 10. And I think Shane Burgos could look at next at someone like Josh Emmett, who's just fought recently on the back of the win. But I think Shane Burgos has a bright future in the UFC featherweight division, which is becoming a stacked division in itself, with the likes of Max Holloway as champion still. You got Jose Aldo, you got Brian Ortega, who's looking to come back after his quite humbling defeat to the champ. He's now fully healed. He's tweeted out today as well. And you got the likes of Volkanovski. You got Jose Aldo still, who's king in that division. Is he going to look to retain his championship? He's only probably got 2 fights left in him, he said, before he retires. Whether that be at the end of this year, who knows? It could be this weekend at UFC 237 in Brazil. Should he win or lose, you could see him hanging up the gloves there too. Same with Anderson Silva, but that's the 5th round. So Shane Burgos, he impressed me. I'll be honest, he impressed me, and I'm glad he got the victory. Now, it was a very close fight with 147 strikes landed compared to 132 for Cub Swanson. That's Shane Burgos who got the 147, and he also got slightly more significant strikes in that fight as well. So he was rightly victorious. There was no takedowns involved. It was a stand-up match. It was a brawl, and it went the whole distance. Now, back to Cub Swanson on Instagram at CageChatYT on my UFC picks, and unfortunately it didn't come off, but he can hold his head high as well. He's one that's almost been on the brink of that top 5, top 3, like so Frankie Edgar, who's also in that division as well. So yes, I'd like to see Shane Burgos versus Josh Emmett personally, or maybe Yair Rodriguez, who's I don't believe there's fought since the Korean Zombie fight, which he won, of course. So it's between Josh Emmett and Yair Rodriguez for me, or Shane Burgos next. Now, also in the featherweight division, in the females side, we have Macy Chiasson. Now, she did fight at bantamweight this weekend. She got a second victory in the UFC via second round KO. Now, she took some damage in the first round, but she came back very strong in the second. Now, Megan Anderson is fighting very soon at UFC Rochester, and I'd like to see that fight at featherweight. There's not a ranking system yet. I think Macy Chiasson is maybe a star in the making. Should she get the right fights and the right promotion behind her? She obviously won the Ultimate Fighter in November, and has since then got 2 UFC wins under her belt. So yes, Macy Chiasson versus Megan Anderson. Should she win Anderson in this respect, I think that could be a fight in a featherweight division that could set it alight. I think Megan Anderson slightly edges it for me at the moment, especially with her height. It's almost like a battle of the tattoos, should we say, and I'd enjoy that. I'd be honest, I'd enjoy that, but it depends on what Nunes wants to do with that featherweight division in terms of holding the strap. Is she going to relinquish it? She's obviously got Holly Holm at 239 for the bantamweight title, so it's up in the air as what's going to happen in the 145-pound division, but I'm hoping it stays because it could be fun. And Chris Cyborg also could be looking to come back, although there is reports that she's going to WWE, which, in fairness, she could get the promotions, less damage. You see what Ronda Rousey's just done for women in WWE. Maybe Chris Cyborg wants a piece of that cake too. Now, up in the heavyweight division, Walt Harris got a very spectacular first round KO. I think he called out Justin Willis in the post-fight interview, but he did look phenomenal as well, and he probably had a performance of the night, even though it was only less than 5 minutes that he performed in the cage for. But he hits hard. there must be cement in his gloves or something, because that's a powerful, powerful man. And again, who's next for him? Maybe Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy's not a fan favorite, should we say? And it would be interesting to see how he ends up against someone like Walt Harris in that match. Someone who could hit probably as hard or slightly less hard than Greg Hardy, but definitely someone more in his ballpark than his previous two opponents. No disrespect to them, obviously. And now, onto the main event. It was Iaquinta versus Cowboy Cerrone, and boy, it was a good event. It was a 25-minute brawl, and I don't know how Iaquinta stood tall. He took 2, maybe 3 front kicks to the face. He absolutely ate them, and he stood tall and kept moving forward. And that's that Long Island sort of. I guess he's almost a gangster. He's a gangster for staying up so long as he did. Now, Cowboy did win 4 rounds to 1. He comfortably was victorious, and Iaquinta still came out with stock pretty high. I'd like to see him fight Justin Gaethje next, to be honest. I think neither of them back down. Both have excellent punching. Both have some wrestling technique. I think Gaethje's a better wrestler than Iaquinta. But personally, I'd like to see that fight. I think Cowboy has skipped the queue for Gaethje, and I think he's got maybe a Tony Ferguson in line, or of course Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is the fight that Cowboy wants if it's not for the title. Now, I think Cowboy is probably at number 2 or number 3 at the moment in the rankings. Now, Dustin Poirier's got that title match against Khabib, and if I'm Cowboy, I'd almost say wait until September, become the sort of backup to Dustin Poirier or Khabib should anything happen to that card. Make sure you've got a co-main or a fight on that card, and make sure you're in Abu Dhabi in September, whether it's against the likes of McGregor or Tony Ferguson. Now, again, Iaquinta versus Gaethje is the fight for me to make. I think it's number 6, maybe number 7 up against number 4, now number 5. Should Cowboy jump in the rankings? I've not actually checked. Now, yes, Cowboy since becoming a father is undefeated, 3-0 inside the UFC now, and many said Iaquinta would defeat him. He's got too much power in his hands. He doesn't go down, and he didn't go down. He got knocked down maybe 2 or 3 times in the latter stages when he got tired. He had blood all over his face, and Cowboy then admitted a younger Cowboy would have probably buckled under frustration more than anything for not getting the job done. But he pointed at his son in the last 10 seconds of the fight, and that's what Cowboy's fighting for at the moment. He's fighting for that, for his son, and for a belt. And maybe he could get it. Who knows? I think he's definitely within one fight of the title. It's just a matter of when and who wins this fight in September. If it's Dustin Poirier, I'd like Cowboy versus Dustin personally. I think that's a good matchup. Khabib versus Cowboy, I would say, would heavily favour Khabib. I think once Khabib got Cowboy down, who has got good wrestling and great submission game, I think Khabib would still be too much, especially although there is a height difference and a range difference. So Khabib would have to get in a lot closer to Cerrone without being hit. Cowboy did land 50 more strikes than Iaquinta, and he obviously won round 1, 3, 4, and 5. Iaquinta came out in the second and looked very strong, but I can't remember when he got a cut on his nose. I think it was somewhere in the 3rd round, but of course getting a cut on the nose, bleeding as he did. He even had his eye checked. It's a good job the fight didn't get called off for an eye injury, but he's such a trooper, and Matt Serra could be proud of his student, of his pupil, and how he's trained him. I think Matt Serra was 1-2 on the night Iaquinta lost, and the guy who beat Brad Katona, I can't remember his name, from the Georgian fighter, I can't remember his name off by heart. So it was 1-2 for Matt Serra, and I'm looking forward to see what the lightweight division has in stock. It is almost like a Grand Prix without it being a Grand Prix. So yes, let me know who you want to see Cowboy fight next. Let me know what you think of Iaquinta's performance. What does his stock hold? Did it rise to you? Did it drop in any aspect? And if so, why? Because I don't believe it did. I think it held its own or even rose a bit more. Let me know your thoughts on a potential Justin Gaethje versus Iaquinta fight. Who do you think would have the better fight and more prospect of winning that fight? And also don't forget to subscribe to Cage Chat for more. We will have the 5th round with previewing UFC 237, which is of course Rose Namajunas versus Jessica Andrade for the strawweight title. We've got Anderson Silva versus Jared Cannonier, and potential #1 contender match in Alex Volkanovski versus Jose Aldo, of course. That will all be covered here on the 5th round, and Cage Chat, of course, post-fights. So yes, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like, comment, and follow the social medias on Twitter and Instagram at CageChatYT, and I'll see you on the 5th round.